Hello everyone. Today we shall discuss about inverse property of rational numbers. Right? Now we'll deal with inverse property. Inverse property. Today discuss about inverse property. Inverse inverse property. Inverse property. Inverse property. What is that? Inverse property. Here we can write as inverse property is, suppose if we take a rational numbers 5 by 7, 5 by 7, right? Suppose I take a rational numbers 5 by 7, right? Or we can say that additive inverse of 5 by 7 is 7 by 5. 7 by 5. This is the additive inverse, right? We'll deal with two things, that is additive inverse. Number one is additive inverse, and number two is we'll deal with multiplicative inverse, right? Let us take first that additive inverse, right? Suppose if we take rational numbers a by b, the additive inverse of a by b is minus a by b, minus a by b, right? That is a by b. The additive inverse of a by b is minus a by b. Or you can say, if I take a rational number a by b, if a by b is a rational number a by if a by b, if a by b is a rational number, 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 then there exists a rational number minus a by b. If a by b is a rational number, then there exists a rational number. There exists a rational number. Exists a rational number. Exists a rational number. Rational number. Rational number minus a by b. Minus a by b. Minus a by b. Such that a by b, such that a by b plus minus a by b is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. Right? Is equal to 0. Therefore, if we take any rational numbers, right? Therefore, we can say, we get some example here. Get some example. That is, if we take any rational numbers 3 by 5, therefore additive inverse, additive inverse of, suppose let us take any rational number, that is 3 by 5. Additive inverse of 3 by 5 is minus 3 by 5. Minus 3 by 5. And if we add 3 by 5 with minus 3 by 5, we will get 0. If we take another additive inverse, suppose additive inverse of additive additive inverse additive inverse of 0. What is the additive inverse of 0? The additive inverse of 0 is 0 itself. The additive inverse of 0 is 0 itself. That means you can say that 0 plus 0 is equal to 0. Therefore, you have to remember that the additive inverse of 0 is 0 itself. Right? In this way, you can find the additive inverse. Or you can take another example. Additive inverse of additive additive inverse additive inverse of 2 by 3 is minus 2 by 3, right? And if we add 2 by 3 with minus 2 by 3, we'll get the result 0, right? This is the inverse property or additive inverse of a rational number, right? This is the additive inverse of rational numbers. Our additive inverse is also known as negative of that number. Suppose 5 by 6, 5 by 6, the negative of 5 by 6 is minus 5 by 6. Or you can also say that the additive inverse of 5 by 6 is minus 5 by 6. If we take another example, suppose 2 by 3, we can say that the additive inverse of 2 by 3 is minus 2 by 3, and such that if we add these numbers 2 by 3 plus, if we add 2 by 3 plus minus of 2 by 3, it gives the result always 0. Therefore, we can say that if a by b is a rational number, then there exists a rational number minus a by b such that a by b plus in bracket minus a by b is equal to 0. Therefore, we can say that a by b is the additive inverse of, or minus a by b is the additive inverse of a by b, right? Now we'll solve. Next we'll discuss about multiplicative inverse or reciprocal, right? Let us discuss this one. Let us discuss another inverse property, that is multiplicative inverse, right? Let us discuss. This is also this is also a inverse property. Inverse property. Inverse. Inverse property. Inverse property. And this is known as multiplicative inverse, or also we can say it as reciprocal, right? Number 2 is multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse, or you can say it as reciprocal. Multiplicative inverse, or you can write it as a reciprocal also. Reciprocal. Multiplicative inverse or reciprocal. For any rational number a by b, for any rational a by b, for any rational number, for any rational number, for any rational number, for any rational number, for any rational number a by b, for any rational number a by b, there exists a rational number. There exists. There exists. There exists. There exists a rational number. There exists a rational number. There exists a rational number there exists a rational number b by a such that, or you can say it as another, such that a by b into b by a is equal to 1, right? Therefore, you can say that b by a is the multiplicative inverse of a by b. Therefore, you can say that b by a is the multiplicative inverse. b by a is the multiplicative. b by a is the multiplicative inverse multiplicative inverse of a by b, right? Or you can also say that b by a is the reciprocal. b by a is the reciprocal reciprocal of reciprocal of a by b. Either you can say b by a is the multiplicative inverse of a by b, or you can say a by b is the reciprocal of a by b. Let us take one example. These are the various example. Suppose if we take a rational number like 2 by 3, 2 by 3, 2 by 3, that is 2 by 3 is the multiplicative inverse, is the multiplicative. 2 by 3 is the multiplicative inverse of 3 by 2. Here you see, if you multiply 2 by 3 into 3 by 2, it comes to 1. Also you can say that 1 by 3 is the multiplicative inverse. 1 by 3 is the multiplicative inverse. 3 is the multiplicative inverse of 3 by 1, right? Or you can say also as reciprocal, right? The multiplicative inverse of 1. Now we find what is the multiplicative inverse of 1. We say that 1 is the multiplicative inverse of 1. 1 is the multiplicative inverse. 1 is the multiplicative. 1 is the multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse. 1 is the multiplicative of inverse of 1. And what is the multiplicative inverse of 0? The multiplicative inverse of 0 is undefined. The multiplicative inverse of 0, the multiplicative inverse, of 0 is undefined. Or you can say also that 2 by 3 is the reciprocal of 3 by 2. 1 by 3 is the reciprocal of 3 by 1. 1 is the reciprocal of 1, and the reciprocal of 0 is undefined, right? Here you say, once again we are repeating that is the inverse property. You can't say it as multiplicative inverse or you can say it as reciprocal also. For any rational number a by b, there exists a rational number b by a such that a by b into b by a is equal to 1. B by A is the multiplicative inverse of A by B, or you can say that B by A is a reciprocal of A by B. For example, if I take 2 by 3, 2 by 3 is the multiplicative inverse of 3 by 2. That means if we multiply 2 by 3 with 3 by 2, you'll get the value 1. 1 by 3 is the multiplicative inverse of 3 by 1. If we multiply this one, it will also get 1. 1 is the multiplicative inverse of 1. If we multiply 1 with 1, we will get 1. The multiplicative inverse of 0 is undefined, or you can say it as the inverse reciprocal also, that 2 by 3 is the reciprocal of 3 by 2. 1 by 3 is the reciprocal of 3 by 1. 1 is the reciprocal of 1. Right? Now we will deal with multiplication by 0. What you will get? The value of multiplication by 0. Next, we deal with multiplication by 0. Right? Let us come to a next phase, that is multiplication by 0. Right? Here we see here that is multiplication by 0. What will get? Multiplication by 0. Multiplication multiplication by 0. Multiplication by 0. Right? Here every rational number multiplied with 0 gives 0. Every rational number, you know that every rational number, every rational number, every rational number, every rational number multiplied by 0, every rational number multiplied, every rational number multiplied with 0, with 0 gives 0. Right? If I take any rational number, if a by b is any rational number, if a by b is any rational number, is any rational number, if a by b is any rational number, then we can say that a by b into 0 is equal to 0. You can say that a by b into 0 is equal to 0 into a by b, and that comes to 0. Right? For example, if I take any rational numbers, suppose if I take a rational number, for which we will take an example. Suppose if I take a rational number 5 by 6, we multiply it with 0, we will get 0. If we take any other rational number, suppose 1 by 3 into 0 is equal to 0. Right? Here we know that 0 is a special rational number. 0 is a special 0 is a special rational number. 0 is a special rational number. Rational number. According to definition of rational numbers, we define rational number as p by q. P by q, and q is not equal to 0, and p by q are integers. Therefore, we can say also that 0 is a special rational number. It can be written as it can be written as, it can be can be written as, it can be written as 0 by 1. Here you see P is 0, Q is 1, and here also you see Q is not equal to 0. That we can say that 0 is a rational number, right? Dear friends, if you like this video, please subscribe, like and share. Thank you everybody for watching this video.